Well, hello, and hopefully I don't frighten anybody with my lovely glasses. Uh, Doing another video, and this one basically because I've been viewing some information regarding the end of World War II when jet fighters started to come and make a play, and I figured I might as well search it up and do an illustrative thing. And what better way to do it with than a P51 Mustang 21st Century Toys 132nd Scale Ultimate Soldier, just like the Maki fighters that I did a couple videos ago. And reach down under the floor, an ME262 jet fighter, same company. Let me find the logo thing right in the middle. 21st Century Toys. These actually are their first two 132nd scale and the most durable. Everything that came out after these two, highly detailed, but oh my god, pick them up to try to play with them or something, they start falling apart. These two don't. This was the first that they came out with, the early 2000s, followed up by this, and then their very expanded, expensive series of others. The Makis are part of that, and here's what you have. Okay, ME262 was designed at the beginning and assisted by Adolf Hitler to be a bomber, hence the two bombs on it. But it was designed to be a fighter to take bombers down. So I'm going to take the bombs off. This is the way you would have seen it in Europe, trying to intercept bombers. Using two on each side 30 millimeter Rheinmetall Borsig cannon. Yes, the same Rheinmetall Borsig that makes tanks, guns, and barrels and stuff now. Slow rate of fire, not a high rate of firepower. For going after a bomber, fantastic. Tanking with a fighter plane and in a maneuvering dogfight, something totally different. A little bit of specs about this aircraft. I'm going to look to my notes that I have over here, so don't be upset with me looking off here and then. Oh, let's see. It was called the ME262 Schwab or Swallow. Two Junkers Umo 004 axial turbojet engines. And they did not put out a lot of thrust, under 2,000, 1,980 per engine. Maximum speed of this craft was 560 miles an hour. What else we got? 430 millimeter cannon, ceiling of 37,570 feet. Range, actually 650 miles. Okay, now to explain. These engines were not made with titanium, aluminum, and alloys like you see today. Germany at the end of the war had a resource problem in getting those type of alloy metals to use in their aircraft. Not a happening thing. I'm opening the landing gear up, by the way, so I can give you a better view of everything as I get into this more. So what Germany wound up doing was taking the best and cleanest basic metal, which would be some kind of a lightweight, kind of like a sheet metal kind of metal, and coat it with aluminum to give it some durability. And what the weak part was, these engines had to be overhauled, the early jet engines. I'm trying to see if they said here. I think they could fly these for 27 hours, and then they'd have to take the engines out and either overhaul them or do something with them. Not like a modern jet engine. And the thing was, you couldn't open these things up and really see what they could do, because you could have a flame out, you could burn the engines up, because they were not strong alloy metals like you have today. So there were limits at what they could do. They had another engine that they were working on, was a BMW, a different kind of a flow, and I believe that one, after the war, the Czechoslovakians were able to make using alloy metals, and they had airframes of these. They made a bunch of their own, but I'm not going to get into that for the sake of this video. So that about the ME262. The thing was, it had almost 100 mile per hour advantage speed on the Mustang. The Mustang This one, if you look at any information and stuff, even War Thunder, 437 miles an hour, this one could run under War Emergency Power, WEP, meaning that it could push itself a little bit more, and the max speed on this one is actually 440, using War Emergency Power and high octane gas and the right types of lubricative oils in. The engine's a Packard build Rolls-Royce Merlin. It's a 12-cylinder V12, 1,720 horsepower. The ceiling on the Mustang is 41,900 feet. And it, of course, has 650 caliber machine guns, 3 in each wing. Now keep that in mind. This plane has a ceiling that's a higher ceiling than the ME262. So let me retract the landing gear in the Mustang so you get a little bit better look at this. And then I'll go into my simulation as best as I can with the kind of resources that I have. But as I have more time, I'm going to use different cameras and stuff and kind of make this a little bit better and not as awkward as I can make it the way I'm doing it now. Give me a sec. There are springs in all this. The first couple of these 21st Century Toys built these 1/32 scales. They had springs that assisted the landing gear. There we go. Click. Which made them really durable and really nice. The newer stuff like the Mach-E's don't have it. They're more frail and they could break. So I kind of like the way these were constructed. So here we go. B-17 or B-24 bombers would be taking off from bases in England and later France after the D-Day landings, and usually were escorted by P51 Mustangs or P47s. For this video here, oh boy, that's nice. For this video here, the Mustang is the plane that I have because it's the one available and all that other stuff. They would take off, the bombers would take off first, and then these Mustang fighter planes would take off. And they would fly up to whatever altitude and fly over to make sure that there were nothing that could damage them. So let me retract the landing gear in this thing. It's a lot of fun. But like I said, it makes for making this aircraft pretty durable compared to the later ones. Because I even have newer model P51s that these guys came out with, and they're very frail. You can't roughhouse with them like you can with these a little bit, because these kind of have a little bit more of a toy feel to them, which, dang it, makes them kind of hard to like. There we go. So like I said, sorry for the weirdness of doing this, but it's the only way I can get all this stuff to work and stuff. So gotta make sure everything's in place. Come on. All right, there we go. So you have your Mustangs flying up high over the B-17s or B-24s. Usually what they'd be looking for is sometimes they would go out and try to scout ahead a few of them to see what lies ahead. And when it comes to flying against the ME262, it's a good thing because the Mustang then would be getting rid of its fuel tanks when they're close to target, and then they were going to engage the German fighters. So this is what you'd see, just a normal Mustang minus its drop tanks, going ahead and just scouting a couple of them. A lot of times these ME262 on the ground were very vulnerable because they had to go up a long runway, paved runway, to get into the sky. So if they're on the ground just sitting and these Mustangs are flying up, shooting those 50 caliber machine guns, they would shoot these to pieces and blow them up, destroy them, disable them, and a lot of times that's what happened. They would go ahead and they would nail them on the ground, and they would be a non-factor. But for the ones that got off, the Mustang would go back up to join the squadron and guard the B-17s. You would have these ME-262s taking off now. And like I said, a long runway, very long taxi to get up, and then you got to go and get your landing gear in, and then you're airborne. The strength of these aircraft was, once they were up in the air, they were very fast in a straight line. They were not a maneuvering aircraft. That stuff had not become into play until like the Korean War a couple years later. But it would be up there. It would try to seek out bombers, line up with their gun sights, and blast them with a 30mm cannon. which is devastating because the 30 millimeter cannon could rip off engines, destroy and shred bombers, disintegrate crew members. So this is where it becomes difficult for the Mustang. The Mustang would have to chase, and like I said, there's a 100-mile-an-hour speed difference, so couldn't do it. So what the Mustang had to do was try to get this into a slow-turning dogfight, kind of like the Zero did to our planes at the beginning of the war. The Zero was a lighter plane. Our planes were heavier. They usually would be destroyed in a dogfight. The same with this. If the German pilot was foolish enough to try to dogfight him, the Mustang would just sit there, let him go past him, get behind him, and then shoot him up. The engines would be like ripped to pieces, and down it would go. But if it was a straight kind of a flying thing, the ME262 is going to outrun the Mustang, leaving the Mustang like it's standing still. So besides getting in a slow turning dogfight, which was not a kind of a rare thing, but it did happen. These Mustangs usually were pretty good. The pilots were good, so they were able to go and down the jets. When these were coming into land, they were extremely vulnerable. They had to let their gear down nice and slow. They had to kind of slow themselves down to get a decent landing speed so they wouldn't kill themselves. Upon landing, that's when the Mustangs would loiter up topside, and as they were landing, come up behind them off an angle of attack and shoot them to pieces. And that's how they downed them. Actually, there was a statistic, and I wrote here, 74% of air-to-air kills of the ME262, this plane, were achieved by the P51D Mustang. This plane here, or the K. The K looks like the D. But these planes did engage and did shoot them down. The other planes were like Spitfires and Tempest fighter planes, I believe. They were able to do the same. But as far as if it was just a chasing kind of a fight, the ME262 is going to come on top. But like I said, there are a lot of weaknesses with this that there weren't with this. The only biggest weakness with this and this was the speed in favor of this. But like I said, you had very frail engines. You could not open it up. There wasn't really an afterburner. So if you tried to run it like that, the engines would flame out and they would just catch fire and you'd be trying to parachute out. On takeoff, you'd be careful because the Mustang would be there to get you on landing. And like I said, if the pilots were not that skilled and they try to get into a dogfight, the Mustang, being that it's a slower and tighter turning plane, is going to and get right behind them and take them down. So basically that's all I have with this. A little bit of confusion with me playing with the landing gear, but kind of a good thing because if you guys are watching my videos and like I said, you like these 21st century toys, and there are a lot of them out there. eBay, Amazon. This is what they're like. If you could find either one of these, I'd say you'd have a decent display model and stuff because they're pretty durable and these have lasted a long time without not really much maintenance. They sit on a shelf and collect dust. I've been cleaning them up because I'm doing a new shelf arrangement where I can have better control of my Kobe's and other stuff, and these will probably be around. I'll show them more often than not. But I also have tanks from this company, 21st Century Toys, and 1/32nd scale. I have a Panther, Sherman Firefly, Mark IV, Mark III, Mark III with a long barrel, a bunch, but not part of this video. This video, not to walk away too much, it's about the Mustang and the ME262. So, transition from this to this, and there you have it. Technology change, end of World War II, and some iconic planes. Sorry I was a bit long. I will have another build coming. I'm got another Russian fighter plane. In a couple days I should have that one once I get the kit here, and I'll build it and go on with that. And maybe I might have some other surprises. Anyway, sorry it was a bit long. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like these new types of planes I'm letting you discover. And have a good day, everyone. And we'll see you again soon.